Hello, everybody. My name is Bethany Redhorn. I am here in the Big Voice studio. I am the Winnebago Indian-News editor, and I will be having an interview here today in the studio with Traffic Stop, as well as our victims advocate from the Winnebago Tribal Court. We'll be talking about human trafficking awareness. And so, some of the areas that we reach here in our local area is the Winnebago Tribe of Nebraska. We have reach to the Omaha Tribe of Nebraska. So, we have Walt Hill, Nebraska, Macy, Nebraska, all the way up here to the Siouxland area, even out to Santee area as well. We have a reach of about 180,000 over the terrestrial radio on the FM. So we're on KWTN 100.9 FM, as well as the Big Voice on Facebook and our YouTube channel. And so I am going to allow the ladies here that are joining me in the studio to give an introduction. And so we'll start over here with our Winnebago Tribal Court.
Good afternoon. I am Thelma Whitewater, victim advocate at our court. We had prior tried to get out information regarding human trafficking, and on a meeting, in one of my collaboration meetings, I ran across these ladies that they do this in schools, and it is called Traffic Stop. I invited them up so that they can do a presentation in the assembly forum at our public school for grades 7 through 12, and that's today at 2 o'clock. And so I just wanted the ladies to kind of give a little brief introduction for themselves and what they do, and hopefully that we can reach people out there, because it's very important, as we know and we see in the news about our young ones disappearing and bad things happening to them. And so my concern is like for our young ones in prevention areas and awareness. I'd like to have Lisa Molina introduce herself.
So thank you, Thelma, for all you have done, working hard for many months to open this up and help your children, your students get some tools to keep themselves safe and share with others and share with their family what we've learned by being educated by others who are in this field. So Hankola, hello friends. My name is Maka Lutawin, woman from the land where the dirt is red. I am Oglala Lakota from the Pahasapa, the Black Hills in South Dakota, and I'm the co-creator of Traffic Stop. Thank you for having me.
Definitely. And then may we have your introduction as well?
Yeah, hello. My name is Stacey Cahill, and I am a mental health therapist in the central Nebraska area. Been practicing for 25 years, and I'm also a massage therapist and author of Traffic Stop and co-founder of Traffic Stop Inc. with Lisa.
Wow. Okay. Thank you, ladies, for joining us and making time before the presentation to stop up to the Big Voice. As Thelma had mentioned, we deal with the MMIR crisis, and so we do want to really make sure that we're putting out that education regarding human trafficking. And so I kind of would like to know about Traffic Stop. If you could kind of let us know what Traffic Stop is about.
Traffic Stop came alive after the publication of a book that Stacey and I worked on together, knowing that MMIR and human trafficking are really sister crimes embedded in each other. And knowing that there is more work to be done and knowing that the target audience is younger and younger, we decided that we would use our voices to spread awareness, and the best way we can do that is in schools.
How long has Traffic Stop been founded?
We started in January of 2024 in central Nebraska, in Lexington, and then have branched out throughout Nebraska since then. It's interesting to see who says yes to hearing the information. And so that's been eye-opening, and very grateful for those who have said yes. I'm recently moved to Kansas City. So as you were talking about your reach to your audience, we now have a broader reach.
That's amazing. That is amazing. And then with Traffic Stop, what are some of the initiatives that take place within your organization?
We're pretty grassroots at this point, and we're trying to build a board and get as much education to youth and adults, their parents, so that the youth can be safe online, because that is the new playground that perpetrators go towards to groom and then manipulate these young people into human trafficking. So the more awareness that we can get out, the better. And we've done presentations up in Valentine, and we've done North Platte and Gothenburg and Lexington. We were in the schools over the spring or over summer break, and reached about 300 kids, maybe around 250.
Yeah, and remember the kids that we reached on Pine Ridge?
Yeah. You want to speak to that?
No, I just wanted to include them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so with Traffic Stop, I know that we're talking about the online world. What are some of the ways that maybe parents or guardians out there could be aware of the dangers that exist on the internet?
How can a parent be aware? Say yes to a presentation, click on a video, go to YouTube, look at the interviews that we've done. Just be open and aware that this isn't a problem that other people have. This is a problem that we all have, especially our Native youth. So know your kids' passwords. Talk to them openly about healthy sex. Talk to them about healthy relationships. Give them an opportunity to know and own body sovereignty.
If a child has a phone, then they are at huge risk to be solicited and groomed into developing a relationship with a perpetrator who is very, very good at finding people's vulnerabilities and using that to gain trust and build a relationship, so that the child feels like it's a friendship and feels like they have a real relationship with that person.
And I feel like I just want to, it's a little personal, but I'll share it because it happened last year. But I have a 13-year-old, and I actually came across just a stranger that was trying to talk to him. And I want to say it started in Roblox, the game. And I ended up finding emails that there was emails exchanged. And so it's just like the danger is really there, and it's like parents not paying attention to the devices, the electronics that they're giving to their kids. And so maybe we could talk about proactive ways to, be on top of that.
Even if you have parental controls, the perpetrators are finding ways to manipulate those and get around them. So the parents need to stay on top of the newest and best parental controls on any device, all devices, and even that isn't necessarily a for sure deal.
Yeah.
Being aware of the use of AI and the ease of perpetrators to be able to change their voice, catfish. If a parent can stay aware and involved, I think that relationship with your children is vital. And to teach the kids, if a relationship begins one place and the perpetrator tries to move that relationship to another platform or to meet face to face, huge red flags. We've got to drill that into our children the way we talk about fire drills.
Yes. I agree. I do.
Don't let that relationship move.
So then, with the presentation that you ladies will be doing today for the Winnebago Public School, what are some of the topic points that you'll be touching on?
So it's human trafficking. We're going to try and hone in on grooming, because if your child is groomed at some point, you're going to have a hard time breaking those ties that they build during that grooming process. So it's healthy relationships versus unhealthy relationships.
Online safety, making sure you have at least 2 trusted adults to be able to talk openly about concerns or questions that you have, or just to be open with about what's going on in your life.
For the listeners out there, we are using a standardized curriculum. So this is deliverable to this age group. It's vocabulary and topic. It's age appropriate.
One of the questions that I wanted to ask was, what are the first 3 steps you take when a potential victim is identified?
In the presentation, that's the reason I'm here. I'm here to also give information, but I'm here to scan the room and make sure that if anyone is looking uncomfortable or needs to have a one-on-one conversation, that they have the ability to do that. And we will explain how to proceed in before the presentation starts. After, if they have said anything, I am a
Mandatory
reporter, so I would have to start the chain of events to report that, probably get, call the national hotline for human trafficking, and then get involved with or make a referral to the local mental health practitioners in the area that can really work with the youth that needs the support.
Along with Stacey engaging with anybody who wants to be discovered or wants to be disclosed, immediate reporting would go to the Attorney General's office, to the new MMIP liaison, for appropriate reporting on Native youth.
One of the things that I was thinking about too was just with the awareness of it, and I know that Thelma had mentioned that she's been working on getting this presentation to the community for some time now. What are some of the reasons behind that, Thelma? Could you talk about that?
So that all are involved in it. A lot of times, well, like when the children here are taught something in school, they go home and then like the parents not really involved with the children. And a lot of times these are very important things where we need the whole family as one to get this information so that we're all on the same page and, watching out for each other. As we are in Native communities, we love each other and try to take care of each other and watch out for one another. So that's kind of my thought in that.
So then with the identifying that, what are some of the signs of a victim that's experiencing human trafficking?
I think a change in behavior. If a child is pretty bubbly and engaged with their parent, and then all of a sudden they're isolated and not talking. I mean, I know some of that is natural, but when it's pretty obvious and overwhelming, their child is getting worse grades. They're maybe sleeping through school because they're sneaking out of their house to engage in this relationship and or to be trafficked. Drug use, alcohol use, any trinkets or having their fingernails done, getting a new phone that the parents aren't aware of how that happened, new clothing,
getting their needs met elsewhere, whatever that need may be that a parent or a guardian, the adult at home, isn't able to meet.
Yeah,
you might want to check into that relationship. Definitely the grades.
Yeah.
New friendships. The list of red flags goes on and on. Tattoos. We also have lots of work with MMIP and how and why our Native youths are marginalized and are easy targets. My own experiences with familial trafficking and non-familial trafficking. Being in poverty, being dehumanized, being objectified. Us Natives, especially Native women, I hope that comes across right when I say, like Stacey always refers to Disney and Disney princesses. But when you look at that and you look at Pocahontas, then I think perpetrators, people who have malice in their heart, turn us into an object. And we're supposed to be this this sexual, beautiful being that really is non-existent because we're just humans. So having our identities depleted, not having positive coping skills built in at home. So just not being equipped, not having the tools to go out into society and have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
And especially the body sovereignty piece is so important, that we can embrace our bodies. We can own our bodies. A lot of us have experienced life in IHS, where somebody else is telling us what our body is, what it's best for, what's best for it. But we have to be able to embrace ourselves and build our identity.
Mm-hmm.
And without that, that leaves us exposed to a lot of harm.
And I want to say also that men are just as likely to be trafficked as women. Boys are solicited or groomed at a younger age, usually around 9 is when it starts, and girls around 10 to 12.
Mm-hmm.
And so, a lot of times we think as parents, like, we don't have to talk to our kids about healthy sex and relationships until they're in middle school. But no, we need to start right away, and what healthy touch is, what relationships, what a healthy
Mm-hmm.
relationship is, and we need to role model that for our children so that they have a firm foundation to grow from. And most families in our America is unhealthy. Like, we are dysfunctional, and that goes across cultures. And so we have a lot of education and prevention to do.
Mm-hmm. And before we leave that topic of the boys and the age where children are becoming younger and younger targets, pornography.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to?
So pornography is really the gateway drug for traffickers, and a lot of times when kids are exposed to pornography at a young age, it's very confusing in their brain, and their brain is not capable of processing all of that information and being able to navigate what's happening in their body.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of perpetrators will expose their victim with pornography to normalize that behavior and teach them what they're expected to do in a transaction. And also on the perpetrator side, people who consume pornography become more and more desensitized to the material that they're witnessing, and need in their brain that more stimulation and it becomes more dysfunctional and what is the word I always deviant, sexually deviant from what is a healthy sexual relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think that's why we're seeing a lot more pedophilia and younger people being targeted.
Parents also need to understand that in today's digital era, probably by age 9, I think is the accurate number, your child has seen pornography.
For sure.
Wow.
Anytime that they're given a phone, things pop up.
Mm-hmm.
And so, even a toddler may be exposed to it without even your awareness as a parent. So just be very mindful of what you have on your phone and what...
and know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you can take that proactive route of trying to be very hands-on and being aware of what they're on, what they're doing on their devices, because it could be, from the phone to a computer to their game console.
Mm-hmm.
And they have it, the access is right there at their fingertips. So it's important that we take those preventative measures.
It really is, and not think, oh, they're going to cover that at school. The health teacher is going to give them that lesson. it starts at home that we have to talk about healthy sex.
So, how can a parent really get involved with that of making sure that the message is the same at home and at school?
So we have information that we can give to you.
Mm-hmm.
They can click on your website and have access to parental tips, safety tips, red flags, vulnerabilities.
Healthy boundaries, online safety, we have a lot of material that is available to the listeners. They have a national website where all children who are reported missing, they go on that website and interact with a different police force and FBI, and so it's a collaborative effort instead of the Omaha police force just working, the crime, because a lot of times trafficked individuals, it's not necessarily true that they cross state lines.
Mm-hmm.
You can be trafficked in your own home for years and years, and no one knows. So I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there about what human trafficking is and what it looks like. Hollywood has done a horrendous job of making it so it happens to them and whoever them is, and it's not ever gonna probably happen in your lifetime, but it does all the time. It happens to anybody and everybody. National Center of Missing and Exploited Children.
NCMEC. You can click on that website and you can get up-to-date numbers for missing children, and they also do a really good job of tracking Native American youth that are missing, and they use another database for remains that are found, DNA that is found. So they do a good job of keeping those numbers accurate.
But not only do they keep track of the numbers, but they have a ton of resources on that website to tap into as well.
And if any listener wants to report suspected or known trafficking, they can call the Attorney General's office for the state of Nebraska and request access to the MMIP liaison there. And that's with the state of Nebraska human trafficking reporting hotline. They can call 1-800-843-5678. And also on that website, there's cybertipline.org, and that'll give parents easy access to tips that they can use for online safety. Like Stacey was saying, last year we were invited into the public school and spent a whole month delivering this curriculum created by Freedom 424, because summer is coming again. And like you said, there's a lot of unmonitored usage.
Yeah, one of the feedback of one of the students that took that course in the summer school program, initially she was like, yeah, I thought this was really stupid that you guys were talking about this, but as we learn more and more, I thought, oh my gosh, that could be me. And that is the kind of, like, I just got chills when I said that. But that's why we're doing it, because we want people to become aware, like, it could. And we're not trying to scare anybody at all. Our world is traumatic enough, but we want them to be aware that there's nobody who is immune to being a victim of human trafficking.
And there was also another student who was so unaware of the language, the behavior. And once that little guy got a couple of days into that week, he was shocked to realize that it was happening in his own home.
That created the awareness for him, and he was able to identify that. So you can see how impactful this information can be. Well, ladies, I appreciate you stopping in the studio. I would love to see this conversation continue on, and hopefully we can collaborate to get you ladies back to do a community-wide presentation. I think that would be really important and beneficial for a lot of the families here in our community. But before we close out, is there any last words you would like to share with any of our listeners? Go, Thelma.
Okay, yeah, this is Thelma. I am trying to bring well, it's in work in process here that we're trying to get the ladies to do a curriculum at our school starting this fall. So we have a lot of discussion to make yet with the public school on it, but I think it's going to be great. What happens is they have so much time to spend, and then with a grade, and then they would move on to the next one. So however far they want to go with what grades and stuff like that, we're still deciding on that, but that's something to look forward to.
That's good.
Thank you. Thank you for all your work and caring for your youth.
And I just want to thank you for having us, and thank you to Thelma for inviting us to the Winnebago area to be able to reach as many people as we can.
Thank you, ladies, so much. And so I am going to close this out here on the Big Voice Radio. We'll share a lot of those resources that the ladies mentioned here. And so everybody out there, be good to each other, be good to yourself, and have a beautiful rest of your day.